All right, my friends, welcome to another video lesson. In this lesson, we're going to be discussing transitional montages. How to get from one soundbite to another, utilizing still images, B-roll, or both. And that's exactly what we did in the example I'm going to give you here. We have a still image that we manipulated, and then also some pretty cool B-roll. So let's take a look in the timeline here. We're going from the first soundbite to the second one. And we've got a still image and some B-roll to get us there.
Realizing that it could be done by a high school student, I wanted to get into it. The cool thing about dance is dance brings everyone together.
So this allows space in between the sound bites so they're not all run together, and so that the viewer has time to absorb what the person said in the first sound bite and then clear their mind and prepare themselves to receive more information from the next sound bite. This is a great and very professional way to do this. So you saw in the last video lesson where we talked about still image manipulation, how we did this here. Let me show you how I did the B-roll here. I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to head over to my B-roll string out. And here's the original clip that I started with. I'm just going to copy that, Command or Control C, and head over to my main sequence here, making sure that V3 is the first video layer that's turned on, pasting that in. You see it doesn't entirely cover the gap, but I don't care about that right now. I just want to see what's happening here. Play through.
Cool thing.
Okay, so I think I'd like to use the beat structure of the song to my advantage with what's going on in the shot here. And in particular, what I really want to do is have particular points in the shot where his feet and hands contact the floor be lined up with beat points in the song. And in particular, what I want to use is the snare hit that happens a little bit later in the clip here. That one right there. That snare hit. So I'm going to arrow forward until I hit that. Right there. That's it. And I'd like to have his foot contacting the ground here be lined up with that. So you can see if we go through the clip here, there's where his foot actually contacts the ground right there. And I want that to be on the snare hit. So the snare hit's right there. How am I going to get that foot there? I'm going to use a little trick here. I'm going to make sure the clip is selected, and I'm going to hold down Command or Control and use my right arrow to move the clip over frame by frame until I see the foot contact. There it is in the air. So now I'm going to use the left arrow to get it down onto the floor. There it is. And then I'm going to trim out the clip so that it meets the still image. And I'm going to go over here on the second sound bite and make sure that the clip ends right before he says,
Dance brings
everyone together. So I'm going to trim it out to that point and then play through the entire thing here and see how it looks. Oh my gosh, this is really cool because I didn't even anticipate this. His hand hits the ground on a beat here. That's on a downbeat. Then his foot hits the ground on the snare hit. And then his second hand hits the ground on another snare hit. Right there. That's pretty cool. Let's watch that again.
The cool thing about dance is dance brings.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, so now let's play through the entire transitional montage here and see how that flows.
Student, I wanted to get into it. The cool thing about dance is dance brings.
Excellent. That's a great way to bridge the gap between the sound bites with visually interesting material. So this is pretty simple. This was 2 elements, a still image and a cool piece of B-roll, timed well to the music. Now you can see later on in the sequence here, I did something a little more complicated where I've got 6 elements, 3 quick cut shots, one that's moved for a longer period of time, and then a couple clips of B-roll. It's actually 1 clip that I have jump cut between. So let's check that out.
Everything else that I'm interested in. So I have a little catchphrase.
Kind of cool. So this is a method I really want you guys to utilize in this project. I want you to transition between sound bites using these transitional montages. They can be simple, just a couple of elements, but there has to be at least 2. There cannot be only one thing in here. All right, my friends, so that is transitional montages, getting from one soundbite to another using still images and or B-roll. And that does it for this video lesson, my friends. I'll see you again in the next one.